Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. إذ قالت الملائكة, and when the angels said, right? When the angels, what does the word is mean? Is, it's not the English is, it's the Arabic. Is means when, right? These small words, you should know the meaning of these, at least these small ones, right? Is means when. Is qalatil malaikata, when the malaika, when the angels said to Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, what did they say? Ya Maryamu, O Maryam, inna Allah yubashiruki bi kalimatin minhu, that Allah is giving you the good news of a word for him, from him. Allah is giving you a good news of a word from him. Ismuhu al-Masihu Isa ibn Maryam, and the name of that word is Masih ibn Maryam. Masih ibn Maryam is Ismuhu al-Masihu Isa ibn Maryam, that he is the Masih, and the name is Isa bin Maryam, Isa the son of Maryam. Now the question arises for all of you. Allah Ta'ala says in this ayah that there is an angel, and O Maryam, the angel is giving you the good news of what? Of not the son. Allah Ta'ala calls it the good news of the word. Why does Allah Ta'ala call Isa alayhi salatu wasalam the word and not the son? Why? Right? This is what Allah Ta'ala says. Remember the time when the angel said to Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, O Maryam, Allah has given you the good news of the word, minhu, from him, ismuhul Masih Isa ibn Maryam, and the name of that good news, or the name of that word, is Isa ibn Maryam. So Allah Ta'ala calls Isa alayhi salatu wasalam not the son of Maryam, He calls the kalima, the word of Maryam. Why does he call the kalima? And we've discussed this before. Because Isa alayhi salatu wasalam was not born through the regular way like each one of us is born. He was born through the words of Allah. Allah just said kun, and he happened to be there. That's right? So he was born through the words of Allah. That is why Allah Ta'ala calls Isa alayhi salatu wasalam the word of Allah. Ammar is not paying attention. Ammar, you don't pay attention. I have to tell you that. Okay. So Isa alayhi salatu wasalam is the word of Allah. And Allah Ta'ala says that the malaika, they gave Maryam this good news. And then Allah Ta'ala describes what Isa alayhi salatu wasalam was. Allah Ta'ala says, wajihan fid dunya. Wajihan means he had a status. He had a wajahat fid dunya, in this world. Wal akhirat, and he will have a status in the akhirah as well. Minal muqarribeen, and in the akhirah he will be among the muqarribeen, among the closest ones of Allah. So Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will get a status in this world. Now we always hear it is not good to seek status in this world, right? Don't run after popularity. That's what all the ulama tell us, right? Don't run after popularity. Don't try to be famous. You should humble yourselves. You've heard all of this, right? So then Allah Ta'ala says, Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, we're going to make him very popular. He'll have a very high status in the world. So then, is it correct for him to have this big status in this world?
Yes.
Is it correct for him to have a status?
To spread Islam.
Spread Islam. Okay, so that's a good answer. The thing is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let me clear the rules of the game. Once I start, right, and I ask a question, You can answer the question, but my question is not really to answer this. The question to answer is when I ask you the question before class, right? So if I ask you a question, it is something to think about, right? Okay. Now, the thing is, in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the one who seeks popularity in this world, the one who goes for shuhra in this world, the one who wants to become famous in this world, who has this desire to become famous, the Prophet ﷺ said that he will be given disgrace in the hereafter. So it is very bad to seek any sort of status or any sort of popularity. And then the Prophet ﷺ said that the one among you, if someone among you seeks to become the imam, don't make him the imam. Why? Because he wants to become the leader. He wants to become the leader. If somebody wants to become a leader, don't make him the leader. So to seek status is wrong. If you are given status without any of your own desire, then it means that this status has been bestowed on you from Allah. So status itself is not wrong. Seeking status is wrong. So one should not seek status. If Allah bestows on you some status, it's okay. The reality is, like any other thing, even in the deen, if you have a status, you will be able to spread the deen more. And there are two instances that can explain that you need status even in the deen to spread the deen. And those two things, the first one is the Prophet ﷺ in the time of Makkah, when the Muslims were being persecuted, the Prophet ﷺ made dua that, oh Allah, you send Umar into the fold of Islam. Why did Prophet ﷺ make this dua? Because Umar was a man of status. And if you get more men of status in Islam, then it will be easy to spread Islam. Then you will be able to defend Islam. So even the Prophet ﷺ asked for Umar Razilanu, the man of status, the man of Quraysh, right? And then the dua of Umar Razilanu also shows that it is important to have a status in order to spread Islam. And that is why the Umar Razilanu used to make this dua, oh Allah, make me small in my own eyes, but make me big in the eyes of others. Right? Umar Razilanu was making dua for status, right? Oh Allah, in the eyes of others, I should be very big. But in my own eyes, I should be small. So that means you need this status to spread the deen, to defend the deen, to protect the deen. If you have more people of status, then the deen will be protected. Right? One of the biggest mashayikh of this ummah, Shaykh Ahmad Sirhindi, rahimahullah ta'ala, he used to say that the king of the nation is the heart of the nation. The king of the nation is the heart of the nation. If you change the king, and if that king, the highest status person in the society, if he becomes religious, then the whole society will become religious. So that means if a person of status becomes religious, then the whole society will become religious. So you need status even for the deen. But at the same time, seeking status is also not good. So now, how do you join these two things? You need status for deen, but you can't seek status. How do you solve this problem? And the problem is solved when you don't seek status yourself. If Allah bestows on you status, you accept that status. It's as simple as this. You don't run after status yourself. It's very important to humble yourself and to lower yourself and not to seek status and think of yourself as the lowest one among everyone. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that the person will not enter Jannah. That person will not enter Jannah who has even an iota of arrogance in him. So if a person thinks that I am more than others, I have a big status, then that person is not even going to enter Jannah. So this is a disease of the heart that one has to get rid of. And the person who thinks himself of a very high status, he ends up making a lot of mistakes. The first thing that he thinks of, the first mistake that he makes is that he very soon he thinks that he is somebody very big. Because this is what his heart desires. So that is why at a very small popularity he thinks now he's a very big person. So this is the first mistake that he does. And then the other thing is that he is never raised up by Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, Man tawaza'a lillahi rafa'ahu Allah. That the one who lowers himself, Allah Ta'ala, the one who humbles himself, Allah Ta'ala raises him up. So it is very important that one humbles himself. He always thinks of himself as the lowest person, as the one who is the lowest among everyone. So now the question arises, okay, if I think that I am the lowest person in the world, and I am the least of all of these people, then how will I get status? Well, you don't have to run after status. When you will think of yourself as the lowest person, Allah will somehow bestow status on you. Allah will raise you up. So you don't have to worry about status. Allah will give you status if you lower yourself. If you think of yourself as lower than everyone else, Allah is going to give you a lot of grace, a lot of status, a lot of izzah in this world. Now there's three types of people. The first one is the one who does not realize this importance of humility. Right? So there's three types of people. And the first one does not realize the importance of humility. What he does is, he runs after status. And he wants to become popular. He wants to become famous. And he will do things that will make him famous. And this will be his end goal. And he will become very upset when he does not get that status, right? And he will be a person who will be full of arrogance. Because this is what happens. That when you are a person who wants to become famous, then the biggest mistake that you do is that you think that you are somebody very high. And the biggest disfavor or the biggest lack of benefit of this thing is to seek status is that all the good deeds that you do, all those good deeds are nothing in the eyes of Allah. And there's a very famous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the first one to enter into the fire. The first one to enter into the fire is going to be an alim of the deen, a scholar of the deen. And that scholar will cry to Allah that, oh Allah, I spent my whole life learning the deen, and I spent my whole life teaching the deen. And here you are throwing me in the fire. Allah Ta'ala will answer to him that, oh my servant, whole life I accept that you were learning the deen, you were teaching the deen. But your intention was to become famous. So you became famous in the world. Today, on the day of Akhirah, there is nothing for you. And he will be thrown. And the words in the hadith is that he will be thrown upside down into the fire. So that means all this hard work of deen goes to nothing. If you're doing deen or if you're learning deen, at the same time you want to become famous and you want to become a person of status. So the status is nothing, that is something you should run away from. The Prophet ﷺ said that nothing has given the deen more disgrace than people who seek status. So the hadith is like this. The words of the hadith is that the lions have not destroyed the sheep in such a way that this desire for status has destroyed your deen. These are the words of the hadith. That even the lions could not have destroyed the sheep the way this desire for status destroys your deen. So one should run away from status, right? So if you feel that you want to become popular, you want to become famous, this is a wrong feeling in Islam. You should always try to feel that I am not famous, I don't want to be famous. So there's a group of people, there's three groups. The first group is who does not even realize that you have to be humble. You don't have to run after status. And they make a lot of mistakes. All their good deeds are zero. Why? Because all their good deeds are done not to make Allah happy. The good deeds are done to gain status. Then there's a second group of people. This is the group of people who have read these ahadith, that one should not gain status. One should humble himself. One should be a person of humility. But at times when people praise him, they forget. And they become very happy. Right? And they don't realize. They go for Hajj, and when they come back, they want everyone to know that I have performed the Hajj. Right? When they wake up for the Hajj prayers, they want everyone to know that I am praying the Hajj. When they give in charity, they want everyone to know that they are giving in charity. They want to be famous. But they also realize that this is wrong. But at some times when people are praising them, they become happy. So this is the second group. And what they do is, they are still in a very good position, because when they realize, okay, I should not have been like this. I should not have said this. And I should not have been happy when people are praising me. Then these people, they ask for forgiveness from Allah. The first group, they don't know the importance of humility. They don't even ask for forgiveness from Allah. They are crazy about popularity, right? They want slogans, right? They want to become very famous. But the second group, they realize that this popularity is nothing. It is going to destroy my deen. I don't want any of this. But when people praise them, they forget this. So then they ask for forgiveness from Allah. And this is also a very nice group. And then there is a third group of people. And this third group of people, they have mastered this art. That even when people are praising them, they still think in their own hearts that I am the lowest one in earth. And these are the people who are close to Allah. These are the awliya of Allah. These are the ones who are close to Allah. They have mastered this art. That even though people are telling them that you are the best ones among us, they still in their heart think that they are the worst ones. That is why it is said about Junaid al-Baghdadi rahimahullah ta'ala. And Junaid al-Baghdadi was one of the biggest sheikhs of his time. And even 1,000 years after he has passed away, people still look at him for guidance. He was such a big sheikh. Thousands and thousands of people were his students, and they all loved him. But one day, there was a famine in Baghdad. Baghdad was the city that he lived in. And for many, many months, there was no rain. So all of the agriculture was destroyed. There was nothing to eat. There was no food stuff. And people were going crazy. So there was nothing to eat. Animals were dying. Children were dying. Such a shortage of food. So people went to the ulama, the scholars, and they asked, what is the solution to this now? What should we say to Allah? And the scholars said that we think that there is a very big sinner in our city. And because of him, the mercy of Allah is not coming down. So when these people, they heard this, they came back to Baghdad and they told everyone that this is what the scholars say. That there is such a big sinner in our city that because of him the mercy of Allah is not descending on us. Junaid al-Baghdadi, the Shaykh of the Mashayikh, the biggest Shaykh of his time, he also heard this, that the scholars are saying that there's a very big sinner in the city and because of him the mercy of Allah is not descending. As soon as he heard this, he left the city and he went outside and he made dua to Allah. Oh Allah, the biggest sinner of the city has now left the city. Please send your mercy on the city. These people, they have mastered this art. No matter if you have thousands and thousands of students, and no matter if hundreds of thousands of students love you, and they think of you as the Shaykh al-Mashayikh, they still in their own hearts, they think that I am the biggest of all the sinners. And if you've mastered this art, then you've actually fulfilled what Allah wants you. Then you'll be a person who does not run after status. You don't want to be big. And this is what we have to do. This is what Allah wants us to do. He wants us to master this art. So there was a Shaykh, a scholar by the name of Hazrat Maulana Abdul Ghafoor Madani, rahimahullah. He was a person who belonged to what we call for now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the area of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And he was a man who was very tall in height, and he was also very broad. He was not fat, but he was a scholar, but he also was he had a lot of strength in his body. And he was very lean and tall. And he used to, even though he was a scholar, but he was a humble man. And his teacher, his name was Fazl Ali Quraishi rahimahullah, was also a very big Shaykh of his time. So he went in the company of the Shaykh, and he spent many days. Now these were the times, we were talking about 100 years ago. There was no electricity at that time. And all these students, they used to come to the Shaykh, and this was the practice at the Shaykh's madrasa. That after Fajr prayers, they would do zikr. And after Ishraq prayers, all these people who gathered to learn from the Shaykh, after Ishraq prayers, they would go in the forest and they would bring wood from the forest. Because there was no electricity, wood was a very important commodity. All the food would be cooked by burning, wood. And that you would get light from wood. And because it was cold during winters, you would also get some heat from the wood. So all the students would go in the jungle and they would bring back, they would bring back wood. Now this very big Shaykh, very big scholar, he also was the student of the Shaykh. He would also go in the jungle, and because he was very tall and he was very strong, he would bring a very big heap of wood. Now the people in the village, they didn't know who he was. And when they saw that he would carry such a big heap of all these, the wooden things, they would say that the Shaykh has gotten a donkey from Khurasan. He was from the area of Khurasan. So they would call him a donkey because his heap was very big. So they would call him donkey. Now, this calling him a donkey is spread among all these students, and finally it reached the Shaykh also. So the Shaykh called Maulana Abdul Ghafoor to his room that you're here and you're a very big scholar, and I know you're my student, but now you're a very big scholar yourself, so I want you to not go in the jungle. There's other people who will do this job. And he said to the Shaykh, Shaykh, I want to be the same as any other students who are here. I don't want to be higher than them. So I will also do this job. I will also work as a worker here. And the Shaykh said, okay, I don't mind this, but people are saying things which I don't like. So he asked, Shaykh, what are people saying? He said, people are saying that I've invited a donkey to my house. Now if it was somebody like us, we would have said, what? They call me a donkey? They don't realize the importance. They don't realize how they should do the adab of a scholar, right? And he was a very big scholar himself. But at this moment he did not say any of this word. But he said, Shaykh, you know what? These people have really realized who I really am. They've realized who I really am. I'm an animal. And I've come here to become a human under your guidance. So I think they're doing the right thing, calling me a donkey. And I will still continue to go in the jungle and get these birds. So look, these scholars, some of these people, they had mastered this art of lowering themselves. Even though people are praising them, they still lower themselves. And this is one of the biggest lessons of the Quran. Now the question arises, I am not like that. Somebody praises me, I'll be very happy. And if I do the good deeds, I want other people to know that I do good deeds. How do I get rid of this wrong habit that I have? So now my question is, you can answer if you have an answer. How do you get rid of this habit? Now you can really answer if you want to. Ji, how do you get rid of this habit? Ji, Ms. Yal.
By staying in the company of people who have mastered this art.
One of the ways is by staying in the company of the people who mastered this art. Any other ways? Let me tell you what these people who mastered this art, what do they say about this? How do you get to this position? And they've given this they've given a very beautiful way. They've given a beautiful way how to master this art. They've said that whatever deed you do, whatever good deed that you're doing, for which you can be praised by people, you think that you want to be praised. You always should think that my intention is never pure. Even if your intention is pure, even if you think that I'm not doing this for the praises of people, still think that no. My intention is wrong. Keep on telling yourself that my intention is wrong, my intention is wrong, my intention is wrong. And if you will just think in your head that my intention is wrong, what will you think? What is going to be the next thing that you will think? Any of these deeds that I'm doing, there is no ajr for me. So then what will be the next thing that you will do? While doing these things, you will ask Allah, oh Allah, please, my intention is wrong, but you give me some ajr, some reward for this. So then you will not think of yourself as somebody big. Or you will not be very, very haughty about yourself, arrogant about yourself. You will be very humble in front of Allah. So when you realize that my deed will not fetch me anything, then you do your deeds with humility. This is the secret. This is what you have to keep on thinking. Whatever good deed that you do, praying, you tell yourself, you remind yourself that my niyat is not good, my intention is not good. There's no value of my deed. When I come here, there's no value of my deed. So when you do this, then you are very humble in front of Allah. And when you don't do this, then you realize, and then you think that, okay, I'm better than many other people. So when you continuously think of yourself whose intention is not good, then you master this art. Now just imagine what a big master of this art Hazrat Sayyidina Siddiq Akbar Raziyallahu was. When the Prophet ﷺ had said about him, what a beautiful thing that the Prophet ﷺ had said about him. The Prophet ﷺ had said that on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's anger will be at its height. And then Abu Bakr's deeds will be presented in front of Allah, and Allah's anger will change into Allah's happiness. These are the words of the Prophet ﷺ about Abu Bakr Raziyallahu. And these were words for any of us, we would be like, okay, confirmed Jannah, right? But this man who had mastered this art, he would sit down and he would tell his friends that I wish I was a piece of grass. And I wish my mother had not given birth to me. that there is a possibility that I will enter into hellfire. Why would he think of himself like that? The Prophet ﷺ has said that, your deeds will be so good that Allah's anger will change into Allah's happiness. Why? Because he had mastered this art of humbling himself, of realizing that all of my deeds, their intention is not pure. One has to master this. About Umar Razillahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ had said, if there would have been a prophet after me, it would have been Umar. Allahu Akbar. Look at what the Prophet ﷺ said about Umar. If there was a prophet after me, then it would have been Umar. Radiyallahu anhu. And Umar Razillahu anhu had mastered this art so much that these words of praises would not even have an effect on him. So one day during his Khilafat, when Umar Razillahu anhu was the Amirul Mu'mineen, he went to Huzaifa Razillahu anhu. Huzaifa was also a companion of the Prophet ﷺ. And Umar Razillahu anhu went to Huzaifa and said to Huzaifa, "Oh Huzaifa, I know that the Prophet ﷺ has told you the names of the hypocrites. And the Prophet ﷺ has also told you not to reveal these names to anyone. Oh Huzaifa, I'm not telling you that you reveal these names to me. The only thing I have a concern about is just check if my name is present in that list or not." Just imagine how much they have mastered this art. Now, on the one hand, the Prophet ﷺ is saying that if there would have been a prophet after me, it would have been Umar. And on the other hand, look what Umar thinks of himself. And he's saying to Huzaifa Razillahu anhu, just check if my name is in the list of hypocrites or not. So when you master this art, that's when you go closer and closer and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then this status and popularity and fame will not affect your mind. You will not think of yourself as better than anyone else. And to master this art, one has to do these two things. One, what Mazyal has said, you keep the company of those people who mastered this art. And the second thing is that you think that all of your intentions are tainted. None of your intention is good. And that's when you will do all the good deeds very humbly and with a lot of humility in front of Allah. May Allah help us master this art. I will end my class here and I will do the translation of this ayah one more time. All of you must have the translation written down. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. إِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ, and when the angels said to Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya Maryamu, O Maryam, Inna Allah yubashshiruka, Inna Allah yubashshiruki bi kalimati minhu, and Allah has given you the good news of a word from Him. Ismuhu al-Masihu Isa ibn Maryam, and the name of that good news or the name of that word is the Masiha, Jesus the son of Mary, Wajihan fid dunya, a man of status in the dunya, wal akhirati, and in the akhirah as well, wa min al muqarrabin, and he will be among the closest ones of Allah. So we will stop here. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, salamun ala al mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Jazakumullah. Namaste.